Mistakes were made on our sail from Bora Bora to Fiji.
The true wind just hit 24 knots. We're debating on whether or not to take it down.
And we're gonna go in kind of this direction, but as fast as possible.
We pushed the envelope and our wing spinnaker and lines ended up in the water. Overcoming a situation like this at sea can be quite dangerous. Lines wrapped around the prop, a heavy sail to retrieve, but somehow luck was on our side.
For the past few days, we've been sailing with waves like 10 feet and winds 22 to 24 knots. So we've been going either with the jib and the main, or if the winds go down a bit, the screecher. But now the winds have backed around to the east and sometimes even northeast, so that puts it pretty deep downwind, and the winds are around 15 to 20 knots now, so we're gonna put up wispy again. Let's see how this goes.
With this sail, we need to be hyper vigilant about lines getting caught, and sure enough, the sheet snagged on a stanchion, so I ran up to release it. With the line free, Fabio was able to deploy the sail.
Nice. All right, that went well. A couple of small minor snags, but we're getting better and better every time. Sail is up, we're sailing a little faster. The boat feels more stable, so it's a plus.
Nice, and yeah, just figuring out how to run the lines and...
Yeah, I think we get that every time it gets a little easier. Yeah, there's a couple of spots where we have to bring it inside the lifelines, and we have to figure out how to do that. Seems like we have done it. Now it looks better. Hold on la cacciatora tonight. They're always in the wispy, the wing spinnaker. We can afford to watch it.
Whoa.
Big waves.
Yum.
And the wind is down to like 16 knots, 15 knots. That was the right wind.
For sure.
All these years that we sailed without this, it was like, what? We're like, what the hell? We cannot go downwind. What's going on with us? What's wrong? You need this spinnaker. If you want to go that downwind, you need a symmetrical spinnaker. And the wing in it is really helpful. So, I like it.
I love it. Tonight, dinner is inside because the other night we ate outside and it was like a tornado. So, anyways, but thanks for dinner.
Thank you.
For what? I didn't make it. I'll give it the taste test. Delicious.
Sailing beneath these stars never gets old. Unrushed, we admire them as we drift gently and time unfolds quietly. The glittering night stretches on as if it might never end. This is the journey we have been looking for.
So biosecurity in Fiji is very strict about what you can eat on board. And we do have some pork on board. This is some sausage. This is lardons, and this is some other sausage that will not be allowed when we get there. So we're gonna have to eat it.
We're actually planning to eat like pretty much everything.
Yeah, we're gonna have an empty freezer when we get there.
Yeah. We have steaks.
A couple of steaks that we're gonna eat. We have some leftover lamb, and we have some chicken cacciatora. We're gonna get rid of all of that into my belly.
Making sure none of it goes to waste, right?
Yes.
Fabio is cooking the sausage, trying to think of all the ways we can save the food that we have on board, at least eat the food we have on board.
Yeah. all the potatoes, all the onions, probably gonna have to go, the garlic, I guess. It's crazy.
A huge thank you to our patrons. We are so grateful for your support. If you'd like additional content and real-time updates, consider joining the Harbors Unknown community on Patreon.
Yoda's is complaining.
What's that, Yoda?
Ever since our time in the Tuamotus, when the fish would come to check out the eggshells we tossed in the water, Yoda is triggered by that sound and runs to check if there are fish at the back
There's
of the
no
boat.
fish.
Sausage, scrambled eggs, home fries, nothing fancy, nothing complicated, totally unpretentious. The sausage, crisp and caramelized on the outside, juicy on the inside. The eggs, scrambled with care, and groundnuts unpretentious fried potatoes, golden, unapologetically greasy, with the perfect trademark crunch. Comfort on a plate. Real food that hugs your stomach. Crunch?
How is it cooking on the boat?
Interesting, especially on the way, but
Yeah. Today's not so bad.
no, it's not bad at all.
Thanks for breakfast. Bon appetit. Potatoes are so fun. Earlier today, we entered Tongan waters, so we are making good progress on our passage. But the crazy thing is that we went from being at 11 o'clock on Thursday to 11 o'clock on Friday. So we skipped an entire day. And why is this? Well, it's because of the International Date Line, which is a line that runs from north to south along the 180-degree meridian. And in reality, it's not a straight line because it goes around different countries based on what time zone they want to be in, whether they want to be in the Eastern time zone with countries like Australia and New Zealand and Asia, or if they want to be in the Western time zone with the United States. What's crazy is that islands that are super close to each other. I think there's a Russian island and an island in Alaska belonging to the United States that are just a couple of miles apart that have the sun setting. The one in the United States from Alaska is on Tuesday and the one in Russia is Wednesday, and they're 2 miles apart. We just passed Samoa, and American Samoa, which used to be in the same time zone, but in 2011, Western Samoa decided they wanted to be more aligned with Australia and New Zealand because they're big trade partners. So on that day, they just decided to skip a day and move forward. So this is a fun fact of trivia, something that entertains us while on passage. And YouTuber Johnny Harris actually did a really great video that we'll link to in the description below and in the card above. But we are really excited because we have just under 450 miles to go, so about 3 days, and we're on day 9 of our passage, so 3 days sounds very little at this point. But we have been really fortunate with the weather, even though we had some really big waves kind of early on, but we've been cruising along with Wispy for the past couple of days and it's been rather comfortable, but we are forecast to enter into an area of convection tomorrow, so may see some thunderstorms and rain, so hopefully it won't be too bad or for too long. But we are moving along.
Knowing there was unstable weather coming, we should have come up with terms for when we would drop the spinnaker, but we were sailing so well with it, we wanted to leave it up as long as possible.
The weather has changed. It's super cloudy now and it's starting to sprinkle, so we're definitely seeing what was forecast. The winds are staying really at like 15 to 17 knots, so still totally manageable. We are super fortunate that we've got the nav station inside, so if it does start raining, we can just move inside.
Among many companions at sea, you can always rely on uncertainty. One moment, the wind is kind, the next, it's howling. Despite the mariner's wishes for fair winds and following seas, there's no taming the elements. It's about learning to live with them. That's where the beauty lies.
Rain ended up passing us by. We just got a little bit of a sprinkle. And right now we have a smidget of a sunset, taking a word from Fabio. The winds have died down a little bit. True wind is 11 to 13 knots, so just like 7 knots of apparent wind, but we're still able to sail, so that's great. And we will continue making our way towards Fiji. At this point in the trip, we both have, all three of us have total cabin fever. I mean, granted, our Pacific passage was 33 days long. Just have to be thankful that the weather has been good to us and continue listening to audiobooks, and thankfully we have Starlink that is still working, so we're able to check the news and keep in touch with people. We're almost there.
When we wake for a morning watch, the ocean is still around us, the air thick with salt, and the horizon the same thin gray line. The cool air holds a faint promise of sun, but there's no hurry. It's peaceful.
It's time to take Yoda for her morning walk. It's a short walk, but she still gets excited about it. Good potty, Yoda. Taking a few moments here to savor what will probably be the last time we have the wing spinnaker up for this trip. It has been an absolutely amazing sail, really a game changer for downwind, and it has made this trip a lot easier compared to the Pacific Passage when we just had the asymmetrical, because we've been able to fly it from dead downwind up to like 90 degrees, and the ride is really super comfortable. It's very stable, it's self-adjusting. It's, now that we kind of have a better understanding of how to trim it, it's easy to trim. We fly with the 4 lines, so you can do it without having to sock it. It's just been great. The forecast for this afternoon is for storms, and I can see the clouds getting dark up ahead, so I know we'll have to probably take it down soon because the wind is forecast to die and then thunderstorms are supposed to roll in. But overall, we've been pretty fortunate throughout this whole trip, so a little bit of bad weather as long as the wind is supposed to die, so it's not going to be squally, but hopefully we'll be fine with lightning. I hope you guys are able to get a sense of what it's like out here, because at times it can be really peaceful. We really haven't seen much life at all. I saw like 5 birds
and then some flying fish. But really, other than that, we haven't seen anything, not another boat. It's pretty wild. Thank you for joining us on this journey and watching this video. We truly appreciate your support, and it definitely helps if you're subscribed to the channel, if you give the video a thumbs up, if you drop us a comment down below, not only for the algorithm purposes, but also for us, that we know you guys are enjoying the content, that you're out there watching. It makes us feel like we have a community of people.
I got freedom underneath the blue full moon, feels eternal.
Yoda, you're gonna get caught on camera again.
Even though Yoda's female, she feels the need to assert her dominance on some occasions. If you haven't seen Weesail's video where she shows Warren who's boss, be sure to check it out. Bureaucracy makes cruising the South Pacific with a dog really difficult, but I love having Yoda on board. She's a fantastic companion and gives so much joy and love.
So we're almost completely dead downwind, and we're gonna fly this wing spinnaker, Wispy, just with the tacks, with both tacks, instead of a sheet on the leeward side, which in this case is starboard, because we're on a port tack right now. We let it out as much as possible, but now of course it's starting to hit the shroud, so we're gonna go both tacks, dead downwind.
First, Fabio releases the sheet to let the sail out a bit, then trims the tack and releases the sheet a bit more. Then he trims the tack on port and once again on starboard. We've found the key is small adjustments.
So now we're going dead downwind, and the kind of sail is kind of moving around in the tacks. Pretty nice. Our true wind speed is about 12, between 12 and 13, and we go between 4 or 5 knots. It's not the fastest way to go, but we're going directly where we're going to go. So,
Well, without the engines, it's probably the fastest, right?
yeah, without starting the engine with this wind, unless we were going, you know, on a broad reach, that would be different. But downwind, this is the best we can do right now.
The rain that we've been expecting is here.
Thankfully, we've got our inside nav station, right?
Yep. So if the wind was to pick up all of a sudden, we start the engine, of course, and then we can leg both tacks up so this wind spills underneath a little bit.
Okay.
True wind just hit 24 knots. The apparent wind was still like 15, but we definitely need to keep an eye on it as this squall moves through.
Yeah, we're running with it. And you should probably douse it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Seven, 28, start the engine. You should take it down, honey.
The true wind speed is back down to 16, 17 knots. Apparent wind speed like 8, 9. So looks like it was just
a squall, so I don't know. We're debating on whether or not to take it down. The true wind direction totally changed. It's now 20 and it was at 60. The wind is back up to 24 knots, so we're gonna wait until this gust pass and then we're gonna take the sail down because it's just gonna be squall after squall, I think, today. Boat thing. That's really kind of what was forecast. Yeah. That's the radar.
Yeah.
How many miles out is that?
2 miles.
26 knots.
Down to 19. I think we can get down now. The true wind is about 20, 19 to 20. I think it's time to take it down.
Okay.
Actually, it's going up again. This is the working tack here. So you're gonna release that tack.
Okay.
When I tell you to, I'll take it out from this side. Okay. And we're gonna go in kind of this direction, but as fast as possible.
Release the tack. I ran to release the starboard tack so Fabio could begin dousing the sail. The pressure was released, but maybe a bit too much. I pushed the throttles forward to increase the boat speed, hoping this would help Fabio pull the remainder of the sock down. This goal was achieved, but unfortunately the bottom of the sail was in the water. We realized some of the lines were still under tension, so I released them all. We could see the starboard lines were under the boat, so I needed to go and make sure they were as free as possible, but wouldn't run off the boat. Thankfully, we were able to get the sail back on board, but I needed to untie the sheet and the tack from the clew. And was finally able to get them both back on board, and we could drop the sail. All right, we got the big sail down.
Yeah, we're going with the Screecher only and the engine for a little bit, recharge the battery and assess the situation. The weather is really squally around us. We're doing about 9 knots only with the Screecher and the engine. The true wind speed is between 13 and 14 knots, so as we come down quite a bit. The angle is about 99 to 100 degrees, the apparent wind angle, so the Screecher works just fine.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go a little bit more like this, maybe an hour or so, and assess the situation. Around us it's really like gray.
Yeah, and the wind is coming from the north directly, and that is always indicative, or in our experience, in
this area, it's indicative of squally weather, and we knew that it was going to be an area of convection today, so a bit unpredictable.
Yeah.
The squall has passed, and as predicted, the wind died, so we are motoring with one engine, and we'll probably have to motor, I guess, until like midnight or so. That's what the forecast looks like, and then the wind is supposed to fill in from south-southeast. So just Fabio's resting right now. I'm gonna listen to some audiobooks and keep moving.
Join us next time as we face some of the gnarliest weather we've seen in a long time on our final leg to Fiji.